Comedy.
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 Commedia.
Comedy.
Ciao. Welcome to the Comedy Hall.
Perfect.
Ciao, guys. Talk about hosting or feasting. No, hosting.
Fisting.
No, hosting.
Damn it.
Feasting. No, hosting. At the Comedy Hall, we are this. What is the Comedy Hall? I would start.
We're comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy Hole is a comedy collective.
Yeah, and it's run by us. So the three of us, with the help of Arina as PR, and for many other things, she helps out.
And who are we?
Who are we? Yeah.
Who are you, B?
So I am Beatrice Rossano.
Beatrice Rossano.
I am Beatrice Rossano.
Which, by the way, all my life I was like, Beatrice is like an old lady's name, but Beatrice is like, it's a great name.
We still are not talking about hosting.
Whatever, I'm getting to know you.
I'm Jordan Thomas Gray. I'm American. I am a comedian and a musician and an F-list TikTok celebrity.
Oh, and also you have a serial killer's name.
Do I? I think I have an author's name, an author who's a serial killer.
That's true.
Who writes about serial killing.
Weren't all people who are who assassinated presidents? They all
like
have,
John Wilkes Booth.
Exactly, they all have three names.
Yeah.
Do you
Lee Harvey Oswald, Jordan Thomas Gray.
Do you do Jordan Thomas Gray when you introduce yourself as like?
I prefer Jordan Thomas Gray because there are fewer Jordan Thomas Grays than Jordan Grays. There are quite a few.
Is it like popular to have two names in US, or is it just like your family?
Everyone
middle
has
names. Yeah, everyone has a
you
middle
do.
name. Yeah.
What's your middle name?
Joshua.
Oh my goodness! Now you will be Joshua forever.
No,
That's my least favorite brother's
Ariel
name.
Joshua Bialski.
AJ.
JB.
Yo, what's up? It's AJ, guys. What's up going on?
Whoa.
Right here from this
AJ's
side,
the
it's
worst
AJ. No, I'm Ariel Bialski, the only Ariel Bialski in the entire world. There's no other person named Ariel Bialski.
Did you check on Facebook?
I know because my family got killed off by the Nazis. But, except for a few. And I'm one of those few. No, I wasn't born that long ago. But I host on Tuesdays a show and part of the Comedy Hole community. Just like you guys, you listeners.
By the way, our names are interesting. Like Ariel is the name of the mermaid.
Yes.
Like this is the first thing probably
Of
people
course.
tell you, right?
Totally.
And why is like a male name in Canada or
No. It's very rare. I met
your
one.
mom told you were a girl and then
Ariel Shiro.
No, it's like a Jewish name. And my dad, so my mom named the daughters and my dad named the son. And he named me after the Israeli defense minister / former, I think, prime minister or president. I don't know much about Israel, but Ariel Sharon, which is a controversial figure if you're into Israel or if you're not. So that's cool that I was named after him.
I'm named after a river.
I am
River
named after no one. Like I am also and I'm not the only Beatrice Rossano. Like I search on Facebook
There's a lot.
and there is a girl with gigantic boobs.
You got good boobs.
No, but
me just check
like
this.
if you search Beatrice Rossano, there is me and then there is this girl with gigantic boobs.
But like over the top fake boobs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fake or real?
I don't know, guys. I don't know this girl. I just
Pay attention
saw
to
her.
boobs, all right?
Is it this one?
That's me. No. Then there is,
That's me.
no. There
There's
is
a
like
few. There's.
yeah, there are like a few, but it's
Oh, okay. I see which one you're talking about.
Well,
yeah.
the
And
listeners don't.
now everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Are
She,
searching
that's
Yeah,
fake.
online.
those are fake.
Yeah. So my name is Beatrice Rossano. You can follow me on Instagram. I prefer Instagram honestly than Facebook. I don't use Facebook.
Yeah.
You're friends with this other one that works at ISIS.
Yeah.
Aren't you worried about having that
That's
connection?
weird. I will unfollow this girl.
You see?
But yeah, so with the guys here, we founded this collective called the Comedy Hall, and we host shows, we produce shows actually, because what we are doing here is not just having open mics, but literally producing shows.
Yeah. And with the help of Bea and Jordan, definitely pushes us all to do more and more shows. So We started a show on Sunday at a bigger venue as a showcase, and even like going to other cities and other countries to do more shows.
Yeah, and I also believe that we started this recently. Like we
Very
founded
recently.
the comedy hall like a month ago now, or more.
More.
2 months. Okay, 2 months, and fuck, we have shows packed.
I got a text today
also-
from a Krakow comedian saying that, wow, Warsaw comedy is taking off.
Yeah.
Like, I get texts like that often from people in different cities.
Yeah. I also got same message from someone from Krakow because people see what we are doing. Like yesterday, I was talking with the comedians from Italy, with which we will have the show in Italy, and they were like, "Oh, we see a lot. You are doing so much. You perform every day, almost every day." Yeah, because we found out that actually. Working all together is beneficial for all the shows.
Absolutely.
And the help of the audience, guys, of you, it's very important. Like we need your support as much as we need comedy in our life.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's a huge thing to help each other out, because Warsaw, I mean, it's a Polish speaking place because we're in Poland. But there's not only Polish people speak English here, obviously, but there's lots of people who are from all over the world who are living here. And so it's relatively small compared to a city of the same size who all speak English and would all go to comedy shows. It's very beneficial for all of us to help each other out. And so even on a Sunday show, there is another Sunday show that goes on weekly. Mine happens once a month or twice a month. I have to talk it out with the host to make sure that the comedians don't overlap and that they can get there on time for the other show. And so it's really beneficial for us to help each other out, as opposed to being like, oh, there's a Tuesday show and you want to do a Wednesday show. Well, the audience is so
fuck
tiny.
you.
Yeah.
Also, I think the type of audience is changing. What I mean is that since we are doing so much promo, people that really want to see comedy, they're coming to shows, not only people that have nothing to do, for example, on Wednesday. It's more like, oh, I want to see comedy. So they come with a comedy perspective and they are much more open-minded to laugh, also to dark comedy jokes, because comedy, for me, it means freedom of speech. And when the audience, I don't want to call them audience. When the member of our community, they come to our show, they love support freedom of speech. They don't only support comedy in general.
Yeah. And also we don't have the same issues as I know in Canada happens and in the States, where it's like, there's other shit going on in Poland, and the government has certain things that people protest against. There's, of course, the Ukrainian war, all sorts of stuff that it's like real shit. And so if you say fuck or cunt, no one's going to be like, what? This ruined my life. They'll be like, there's a fucking war going on. We don't give a shit about you saying cunt. So it's, I do think that it's actually, you're right. The audience is very savvy. And I've even experienced where someone enjoys a set I did that's amazing, and then I do a terrible set, and they're like, well, you're trying shit out.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same, that especially regulars, they come to support also our growth. Like they see, like for example, I bombed on Sunday, but I was very comfortable and I stayed on stage 8 minutes just because I felt I could bomb and still people would come to the next show to see the growth of my set, for example.
Yeah.
And then indeed, I was talking with some member of our community outside the show, and they were like, oh, but that's fine. That's comedy. I mean, we are here. We want to see. We love this. We really want to see how you guys are improving day by day, month by month.
This
I love that.
comedian I like who talked about when you go to see a comedy show, you're paying for the attempt.
Yeah.
It's like Evel Knievel. If he crashes, like, we're here to watch. It's try to see if something happens.
True, and keep in mind that all of us started quite recently. So we're not huge vets. We've been doing this maximum 2 years.
I started in November. So
yeah, exactly. So it's like we're
1
quite
year
fresh, quite new, but we're creating our own community here in Warsaw, Poland. So
Warsaw, Poland.
Warsaw, Poland. Not Warsaw, Texas,
Warsaw,
or
Poland.
Warsaw, Massachusetts.
Also, if Americans listen to this, you have to say Warsaw, Poland, and maybe even Europe, because Americans they don't fucking know anything.
I'm very stupid.
Yeah, we've got an American here. I'm teasing him.
Is it me?
That's true.
Yes. See, what a fucking idiot.
Hosting. Should we talk about hosting?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So talking about the comedy hall. So we host shows. Ariel hosts show Tuesday, and me and Jordan we co-host show on Wednesday.
Yes.
And Ariel, talking about, you were actually one of the first guys hosting a English comedy show here in Warsaw, if I'm not wrong.
In the new kind of post-COVID times, because there were shows, of course, beforehand. So I did not start the comedy, like stand-up comedy in Warsaw. There were comedians beforehand, like Andrzej and Ravi, and there's also, of course, Polish stand-up here. But after there was nothing going on post-COVID, I started a show on Tuesdays in order to start it up again. Basically, I started it in a different way than you guys. That where I just wanted to get better at comedy. And so I just started a show, and I had no kind of aspirations besides I just need to do this in order to get better at it. And it was really you guys coming in and having a sense of more purpose than just getting better at comedy, but kind of not only building a community, but building I don't know what you would call it,
A vision?
A vision with, promotion and understanding of your audience that really gave me a kick in the ass, where I was like, oh, this is like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I should have done this from the beginning. But again, I only had a vision of, I need to get better at comedy. And so it's thanks to you guys that you had that vision.
Well, if it weren't for your show, I wouldn't have done comedy, and Beatrice wouldn't have if they weren't for the other show.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure, that's true. And
But I started the early version of this just because there weren't enough shows. I was like, if I'm only performing once, maybe twice a week, I'm not going to, for 5 minutes, not going to get good enough. So same motivation. And Beatrice especially came in with like, no, let's build like an economy.
Ecosystem.
And Bea always, like, for instance, I love sitting on my ass and doing nothing, and Bea will text ideas constantly.
Sometimes she will scream them in voice memos.
and as much as I'm like, oh God, you're interrupting my alone time, it is amazing to see, and it's a very, very helpful thing where it's like, oh yeah, we could be doing that. Okay, let's do it. And the thing is also with that kind of stuff is like, the more you work, the more you want to work.
Yeah, because I think we all love this. Like, I deeply, and I think you guys the same, you love what you are doing here, what
Absolutely.
we are doing.
This is what I want to do.
It's like, for example, I can be, sometimes I think, how were my days before comedy? Like, I don't remember. Like, it's weird, but I don't remember my life before. Yeah. Now I'm so involved, and you guys as well, that like I love spending my nights thinking about what can we do next. Yeah. And I text the guys in a weird, creepy way at like 3 a.m.
Guys, I have an idea.
And then she'll write, I'm just writing it down so I don't forget in order to not piss us off, I think. But like, it is a very helpful thing. And then it's like it is a real motivator and real fire. I think Bea's the true fire. And like, let's say I started with a show and it got people to go up on stage. So it's like, I don't know what the analogy would be. I'm the key to start the engine, but like, you're you add a spoiler, you add a extra exhaust. It's like all these little parts that add on to the car that make it run much better than just a shitty, car.
But for me,
worst analogy ever.
Like, honestly, and now we are thanking each other.
Yeah, we're jerking each other off.
But like,
which is all
for
I
example,
care about.
I mean, I started especially to work on this with Jordan. Mm-hmm. Like, Jordan was the one that I will have an idea and he will say, yes, let's do it. Because I have so many ideas, but it's hard sometimes to find someone that is really like, oh yeah, we can do that, let's do it.
And then actually
do it. And then you also join, like, and you are the same. Like, sometimes you can be like, okay, it's fine, whatever. But you are also like, okay, let's do it right now. I remember the first time we sit and I said, me and Jordan, we are thinking about building this collective. Do you want to be part of it? And you're like, oh yeah, I want to text the guy of Norblina, and we did it right like in that moment. It was like, I will do it right now. So I really like this like practical
and I'll tell you that, I mean, I told you this at the time, but that came from where I went and visited my brother. My brother was visiting in Toronto because he works for a financial company, and he was working with these guys who were spending, investing millions of dollars. And so they went on to a dinner that cost thousands of dollars, and it was just like 3 of them. And I joined at the end and had a beer, and he was saying, oh, you make music? And I'm like, yeah, I make beats for rappers, which is what I did in Toronto. And he was like, oh, I have a friend who works at this company. And in Toronto, I mean, I don't want to put down Toronto too much, but like flakiness is an accepted thing. It's like you could say, oh, let's meet Thursday, and then you don't meet, and it's not a weird thing. It's just like people flake out, and it happens. But this guy was like, oh, I have a friend who works at this company, does music stuff. Let me give you his contact. He calls him right there, says, hey, there's this guy who's a producer. Let me hand the phone. And he just hands me the phone. I wasn't prepared whatsoever. I'm like, and I set up a meeting right there. And I was like, shit, man, these people who like do things, just do it immediately. And it makes sense because like you can write it down and not get to it. You could procrastinate. I'm a procrastinator. I always was at school. Like wait for the last minute and then do your paper assignment. But like these people are just, okay, I have to do this. I won't get to it if I procrastinate. Let me just call this person. Yeah. So I started doing that a lot more.
And what do you love the most about hosting? And what's hosting, by the way, for...
Yes, hosting.
Right, hosting.
Do you want to explain hosting?
No, what do you think is hosting
for
general?
Me, hosting is... damn, maybe I don't know. Hosting...
Okay. I know for me, hosting, I mean, it's the same as hosting at a party. It's making people who show up to your party comfortable that they're in your house and feel okay that they're there. Yeah. And so that's including them into conversations. If I never was a type of guy who if I'm in a conversation with like, let's say 6 people and I'm telling a story and they're all into it, if there's one person that's left out, it doesn't make me feel good. I want to bring them in. And so it's kind of making everyone part of the show. Not necessarily that they have to yell out or something, but like making sure that everyone feels comfortable to laugh and everyone feels good. And that's why also hosting, sometimes I can't do like jokes where I'm a little bit more racy or controversial because, I mean, I do it sometimes, but like losing the audience, it's less about, it's less about like, I need to express myself completely. It's more about, let me make you all feel good that you're watching this. If someone gets on stage and they bomb, let me make fun of it because we're all in this together and I'm understanding that this guy sucked or girl sucked. It's fun. Let's just, it's providing a good environment for people to relax and enjoy.
Should I explain it from more like my semi-autistic brain, like base level? Because when I tell people like I host a show, sometimes they think it's just me up there for an hour. Okay. So, but hosting, what it is you introduce the show. Usually if it's an open mic or a showcase, you have 5 to 10 comedians. You introduce the show, you introduce the comedians, and then you appear in between each comedian to sort of reset the table and then make sure everyone's on the same page and just have a little buffer between comedians. Like I've never seen a show where they introduce each other, but I'm sure that happens.
Oh, in Italy, sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, absolutely, that happens.
It's sort of the glue of the show to sort of make the audience feel comfortable and like ready to laugh, but also put the comedians on a pedestal and in a place where they're respected by the audience.
That's very important.
The thing when you were saying like comedians introducing each other, that happens a lot, and I think it's these people are testing their material, and then they introduce the next person. And what we're doing is creating, like what Bea was saying, is creating a community. So we are creating a show So having a host where people come back and they see the same person with the same energy every time is kind of like a familiarity that we're creating. And so having that is part of this Warsaw community where we're like, it's us again. Here's our show. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that like in that moment, that is our home and we are welcoming people. So it's not only to give a structure to the event. So welcome, comedian, welcome. So it's like, but also I think the host has the responsibility of understanding the vibes of the audience much more than the comedian, because the comedian needs to try his set in the most comfortable way possible. So I think and all the comedians should go on stage introduced in the to have the best time. We need to provide not only for the audience but also for the comedians that goes up on stage. And each comedian is very different from each other, but still they need to have the best time.
And because English comedy is pretty new in Warsaw and other places in Europe, we've had a lot of shows where over half the audience has never seen a comedy show. So you have to prepare the audience for instance, if I get a sense early in the show while introducing that people might be easily offended, I might say something like, these are all great people. They're not here to hurt you. They're here to make you laugh. So if they say something that sort of puts you off, give them a second chance to win you back and sort of soften them and get them ready for various styles of comedy. Because if you haven't seen a comedy show, I've seen this before, people can get very tense around certain subjects. So sort of like massaging the audience into a place where they're willing to accept what's about to happen.
Yeah, I there is a part of it though that also is like if you do say, and I've said it both ways, where I've said, this guy's a super funny guy, I like him very much, here he is, and he is funny and it's fine, but you can also overdo it. You can be
for sure.
This person's so funny. They'll ruin.
Yeah.
Thing.
For me, it's not like saying good stuff about the next comedian.
Yeah.
It's more about make the audience relaxed before the next comedian.
Yeah. You need to know their style.
Because, for example, I'm not sure if I say this guy is very funny and then he goes there and he bomb, I feel that the audience will not trust me the next time that I will say this guy is very funny. So I never say this guy is very funny. Maybe I say I like this is my friend. That's like I try to get them on the page that they are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone's prone to bombing, I think a good thing to say is like that they're nice. I don't know, like be nice to them.
Also, I do because I allow people who have never done it before. I try and leave a spot for one person to at least try. And so I'm always like, they could suck. They could, and like, well, we'll see. Oh shit! Yeah. And it gives them a buffer that like
gives space.
If they suck, and also afterwards, if they did well, you're like, oh shit, he didn't suck, and it's kind of like we're all
on the same page.
On the same page.
Yeah,
it's basically being on the same page with everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. There was this comedian that for like a couple of months kept doing these jokes that were, he would lose, I want to say 30 to 50% of the audience just from them being offended. And that's, I think at that time, just started introducing him like, he's probably going to say some fucked up shit you're not going to like. Just like get them a little bit ready. And then that gives a little bit, because they're probably expecting something much worse. So when he comes out, and it started going better.
For me, for example, it's like I don't say please be nice to.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
Yeah.
But sometimes I heard someone, or maybe you saying like,
say that,
be nice. Like this is comedy. We are like something like that. Because I don't care if they are nice. Like if the audience is nice, I care that they listen with like carefully to the comedian and they are open-minded. Like the being nice is there, like it's if you are a nice person, but nice not in a way like, oh, bravo. I don't want the audience to be stupid in a way that they need to be nice, like mandatory. They can all laugh together because the comedian is not funny, for example. Like, for me, what is important is not that they are nice, but that they are willing to be open-minded. I think that our job is also to make the comedians feeling that it's a home also for them. Like, for example, I've been, especially in Italy, in comedy shows in which the comedians will not talk with each other. It was like, oh, I walk in, I don't talk with anyone was talking. The host was not like, introducing the new comedian or like to the other comedians. And I felt much more stressed going on stage because I was like, oh, I have no one from my side. Yeah. While I saw and I experienced that when you feel that wherever the comedians are with you, they not have to be nice, but if they are with you, you're like the comedian always perform like at his best.
Yeah. Let's talk about something interesting to me because it's happened a few times at recent shows. People will be talking. There were this group of 3 or 4 women that this happened at 2 shows. They would sit right to my left, and this is at the Comedy Hole at Clore, so like within 2 feet of me, a foot maybe, and they kept whispering and like chatting to themselves and like about something. And at a certain point, I was like, "All right, what is it?" Like they kept just being like, and they were like, "Oh, you dated our friend," and it threw me off. To be honest, I was like, "Which one?" And they told me the name, and I was like, "Don't recall." And then eventually, it just became part of the show. This isn't a good example.
Number 1. Can we
brag about?
We should have. We
this
should
is
have.
Not bragging.
We should actually
that
have
I dated
shots.
someone. You guys have dated people. To say I dated someone is not bragging.
We should have. We should have shots every fucking time, Jordan.
How is this bragging?
No, we should like shots with whatever. You have beer or you have water.
I have water. It's a sober month.
Let's play this game. We have shots of whatever. Not Jordan because Jordan is doing his dry month that will last. We don't know.
It's been a week already.
Let's do this. You want to do that?
Sure,
yeah, let's do that.
Not only shots, but like.
What's the game?
There should be a sound
So every.
like, Jordan is bragging.
Yeah.
I don't even understand it. I'm just talking about my life,
Jordan
guys. My life is incredible.
Yeah, every time Jordan is bragging, we have a shot.
So I'm doing a sober month. I think everyone should do a sober month so that they can appreciate like how beautiful life can be when you're drunk.
Whatever.
No. Yeah, but in general, talking about heckling again, I remember the question was basically if we had ever someone that was very like heckling or anyway interrupting constantly the show. I just remember I was in Italy and there was this guy who was very drunk. He was very drunk and. So I went there and I started to say my set and it was like, oh guys, you all look like cool. I don't remember what I said. And then I said, beside Giovanni. And the entire time of my set, whatever nice thing I was saying, and then I was like, beside Giovanni. Right. And people were laughing every time I was just, pointing him out because he was fucking annoying. Yeah. At one point, I just had to say, almost shut the fuck up. Yeah, I probably say that.
Oh wait, Giovanni the comedian?
No, he was like, no. It was like in Italy, I was having a set and there was this guy named Giovanni. Giovanni is a very common name. And at one point, I think I said, but now Giovanni, you should shut the fuck up. Right. And everybody laughed. Yeah. And he said, no.
Oh
but
my
he was
God,
just
there
drunk.
was this guy. Yeah. This guy was super drunk. This is at resort. And he was just interrupting like constantly. He's yelling. You would say a premise and he would be like, yeah.
Right.
Just like, because he was so into the show and his wife was with him and she was incredibly embarrassed. And so my set that should have been 5 minutes lasted like 8 just because I was constantly interacting with this guy. I just interacted with him, but I roasted the shit out of him because he was like, oh, just got married. And
was he a little drunk?
He was extremely drunk. And he was like, fuck yeah. And so I was like, at your wedding, did you... it's like, you may kiss the bride, and you said, kiss it? I'm going to fuck it. Ugh. Yeah. Well, I had to set that up better. Cut this part out. He had called his wife it multiple times prior to this.
I see.
But I just, he wouldn't have shut up if I had asked him to, essentially. So I just basically went through my set, pulling him into it.
I totally understand, because even with like when I bartended, I would have to kick people out, and I'm a big guy, and if I'm kicking people out, and I never did it actually, but like, because I understood that if you go up to somebody and you're like, get the fuck out, and they're drunk, you're starting a fight.
Yeah.
But if you go near them, you comfort them, you say, hey, like today we can't have a drink. I have to stop serving you. I'm sorry, you've had too much, but hey, come back tomorrow, man. I'll get you a drink. No problem. Like, you get them on your side, and you want to make sure that they're feeling okay about being kicked out.
He bought us all drinks after that. He loved being roasted.
Yeah. And so it's a good thing to do, to like, even the people who you don't want to talk or don't want in the show, maybe, like, to be like, hey, we're all in this together, kind of thing. And so that kind of ties into the whole community thing that you guys are.
Have you had this?
What?
This person that won't shut. You had that Lucy lady at Rakieta.
Yeah, but there is something. She was
a little bit charming.
It was specific because it was so bizarre. I had it a few times, and like I said, I've done it well and I've done it poorly. But like, there was this one lady who was older who was used to be an English teacher, and so she comes back every so often, and she's a good part of the audience. She will yell out sometimes, but like, it's fun to make fun of her, and she takes it well.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. It's like, she takes it well, because I'll be like, like, oh, you're learning English, or I'll go back to her even when she isn't talking. And so it really has to do with her taking it well, because if you made fun of somebody and they don't feel good and everyone's laughing, then that's fine. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But she takes it very well. She said some weird things that everyone's like, what the fuck? And it could be a whole 5 minutes on how weird she is. But yeah, so definitely, and she'll be back hopefully, and like, I'll see her again, and then we can tell the audience, hey, here's this lady who does this and that and is bizarre, and you have some like weird things that you could talk about.
And so I asked you before, what is the thing that you love the most about hosting? And you gave and what about you, Jordan?
I think I love most about it.
Yeah.
Just gaining the experience, to be honest, like dealing with these weird situations, that you have more opportunities to deal with that kind of shit as a host.
Yeah.
And sort of feeding off of the audience over a longer period. I think what I like most about it is you start with them as sort of this clay, and then over the course of a night, you can sort of build a narrative around what's happened with the show, more opportunities for callbacks. And your starting point can be so much more different than your finishing point, even than a 20-some minute set. I've never done a full hour, but even a full hour it's not mostly interacting with the audience. So I think,
of course,
having a whole night of interacting with the audience and being able to pull a room together over that period of time is what I like most about it.
Yeah, and I think also, like, because what I love about hosting, I would say, is also gaining crowd work experience, where you get to talk to the audience, and you kind of learn how to talk to the audience. And I've noticed, even for, let's say I'm not hosting, I'm just doing like a 5-minute set. If I just go straight into jokes, and especially in a room like Comedy Hole, where we would do it in the basement, not outside, where it's 30 people in packed into this tiny room. If I just go right into jokes, I'm not acknowledging that, hey, I can fucking see you right there.
Yeah.
Like, and so to be
exactly.
So to be like, oh, you get it. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, like, it's almost like going into a group of friends, and then you just start telling your story, as opposed to being like, hey man, how you doing? What's happening? And so like, so I see you doing that. I see you talking to the audience, and you're good with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Not Jordan.
Jordan. No. No.
No, we have different type of hosting, and I think we work well.
But what's the thing you love about it?
What I love the most, so of course it's to the crowd work experience that I get out of it, but it's also so there is like more the comedy part, but there is also the human part, which I love. Like, for example, I love that in comedy, all the weirdos are welcome. Like, I don't care your background, like from the audience. Like, you can be a nerd about video games, or you can be a scientist. Probably those people are the same. But in general, I like that comedy welcomes any type of whatever person. And in the room while we're having our shows, everyone is the same. Like everyone, there is no difference.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that I can provide entertaining moment and time to the people, that they go home and they are happy. Like, I really love I truly love the fact that those people go home and they were like, oh, this, like, maybe they had a tough day, but they come to our show and they're like, oh, today was not bad. You know what I mean? Like,
There is something that happened actually at the Norblin shows, which is the Sunday show that we do, that I host, that comedians who have done at least many minutes can showcase their stuff that they've worked on, and it's for a bigger room and that kind of stuff. And I remember last time there was a couple to the side who just straight face, no laughing immediately.
Yeah.
And I started talking to them and was pointing them out and, like, making them comfortable. And slowly but surely, like, the guy and the girl, like, they both started being warmer. It's not like, here's a show, and if you don't like it, you go home and you're like, I hated that.
Yeah.
Here's a show where you are part of it. I'm talking to you. They feel like they were like, they can go home and be like, oh, that was a fun show. Like, just because the performer talked to them.
Bringing people into the show.
Yeah. I love to give good time to people.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the best for me. And
Totally agree.
and talking about crowd work, I think there is difference when you host shows like in a small room, in a big room. Let's talk about this because it's interesting. Like, for example, you cannot do the same thing that you do in Clar Underground in Clar Outdoor, for example, or you cannot do the same that you do in Rakieta than what you do in Norblin, because for example, Norblin is gigantic. People maybe don't hear what the guy in the first row said.
Sure.
So what do you think?
There is something for the Norblin one, is like, I try and even do this in Raqueta because I've experienced it as an audience member, where the audience member says something and you didn't hear it, and the person on stage, the host or the comedian, just responds to it, and you're like, you don't get it because you just didn't hear it. So I try and repeat what they said. And especially if, like, I've done it in Raqueta where it's funny. The person said something funny, actually, and people around them laughed, but people in the back didn't. People on the side over there didn't. And so I repeat. I'm like, this motherfucker said this, and try and get the whole audience into it.
I love doing crowd work at Clar. So underground, it's 35, 40 people. They're all packed in. It's a little dungeon. Everyone can hear what everyone says.
Yeah.
If someone farts, you can hear it. You can hear everything. And crowd work is super natural because you don't have to repeat what the person said because everyone in the room heard it. Whereas Clar Outdoors is a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a workout. You have to force yourself to repeat everything that just happened, the context, what that person did, because people can't see them, what they said.
Exactly. And also, I saw it work less. Like, for example, when I did crowd work in outdoor on Wednesday, I honestly didn't like how it came out, just because the people cannot see the person. The people cannot hear the person. Yes, it's, as you said, it's a workout, and also maybe it's not the place where to do crowd work.
Yeah.
Like, I think in those big rooms, you need to find something that everybody can see. For example, on the stage. Like, for me, the crowd work is different when you are when you have a big room. You don't mainly do crowd work. You do a different type of crowd work. Like, you point something that everybody can see, not talking directly to someone and asking, oh, so what's your name? What's your job? It's just different. Like, I think I need to work on Wednesday outdoor.
About the room.
I do think you need to repeat the people saying, because sometimes I heard
but
your response.
I think it just doesn't make sense. Like, maybe to do crowd work in so big rooms. Crowd work in a way that you go to this person and ask, so what's your job? What's your day? It's less. It would work less.
You don't see it in specials that often, but you do see it. So like Jesselnick's special Thoughts and Prayers, he very intentionally does crowd work and just repeats it back.
But for example, Andrew Schulz, did you watch?
I watched it.
So he's famous for his crowd work, right? And in his last special, he make fun of people, but he doesn't ask them question. He's like, oh, you are a couple, so this is everything can see that, and he actually answered them. More than asking them question, he's already providing the answer. So, oh, you are a couple. Oh, are you? Do you use
condoms?
Contraceptive?
So he's just like making jokes that. It doesn't matter what is the answer, you know?
Yeah.
So I think this is interesting. Like you can, for example, you can still do crowd work with two people, but without really talking to them.
Sure.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
this is an aside, but my favorite thing to ask couples is, all right, how many people have you had sex with? Both answer at the same time.
Jordan is bragging.
I'm just talking about comedy, guys. If that comes off as bragging to you, that's your problem.
But I do think that for the outdoor,
he's getting mad.
I feel delightful.
On the outdoor thing, also there could be, like you said about, you talk about something that everyone sees. You could couple instead of. I mean, you can absolutely talk to just two people, but like, for instance, there's that section where everyone's on the kind of like lazy boy chairs or I don't know what they're called in English. I know in Polish for some reason. Leżaki.
Like for the beach almost.
Yeah, the beach chairs.
The recliners.
Recliners, I guess. It's like everyone sees that there's recliners there, and then there's the tall tables, and like you could group people together, and it could be like everyone sees that group, as opposed to just those couple people that no one really sees, and no one sees even like how that person looks.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting. Like I want to try to do some more kind of this type of crowd work when I have big rooms or outdoor, like less directly talking to people. For example, there was this on Wednesday, there was the first line of people sitting on the table. They were not there for the show. They were there for drinking. And before the show, I went up to them and I say, oh guys, you are here for the show. And they say, no. And they were like really with this serious face, like, no, we are not interested. And then I talked to them, but it was more like, oh guys, you are not here for the show. So I already told the story, not waiting for them to answer. I think I will work more on doing something like that.
Sure. I think it's good.
Do we have any advice for people who want to start a show?
You have to know the owner of the venue.
Yeah, pretty much.
First of all, for me, it's like do it, because you never know if you will be a good host or a bad host until.
Also, definitely the first time you're going to do it, it's going to be nerve-wracking, and even booking comedians is the most nerve-wracking, and like making sure you have a show.
Oh, please, let's talk about what is all the work that you, not just the work while you host, but all the pre-work of a show.
Okay.
So the question are two: advising for people that would like to start hosting, and all the pre-work to be done before a show.
What happens?
The number one thing.
Yeah, let's go from the second one. I think it's more.
Yeah, because the number one thing that I think that what triggered the question is like the number one thing for me when I started is because I just wanted to get up on stage and do it. So that's all. So the prep of like doing your jokes or being nervous or anything like that is just what's going to happen. But like you have to book a bunch of comedians. Comedians drop out last second. They're unreliable sometimes. Sometimes they're very reliable, of course. But like it's so annoying that you have to kind of like slowly but surely just not care. Just you're gonna do your show, and you're gonna get to the point where you're confident that you can put together a good show. So one comedian dropping out is not a big deal, and trusting that everyone's a man or woman of their word is not something you need to like die on. It's not a hill you have to die on. You can just be like, yeah, that person dropped out, whatever.
Yeah, for me it's just a matter of timing. Like if you give your name and then before like a day before the show you just drop, it's fine. But if you do it the day of the show, I'm get a bit pissed.
There are some comedians that just are kind of unreliable. It's like part of it. And if you have a show that maybe you want there to be 10 comedians and there's 8 and 2 of those people are kind of unreliable, try really hard to get up to 10, like just to have a buffer.
Yeah.
So just working around people's idiosyncrasies. And
no, just also because now we are having a good number of comedians. Yeah. So if someone drop, it's fine. But if you have a show with 7 comedians, 1 drop, or less, it's going to be a bit not entertaining as much as I would like for the audience.
Yeah.
Because it's an open mic, so you cannot do 10 minutes per comedian all the time, because sometimes the comedian can bomb for 10 minutes, while with 5 minutes is like the show has more rhythm, it's more funny, it's more entertaining, different people, different cultures. So, yeah.
I think for myself, I'm a stiff person sometimes. I'm loose in lots of areas of my life, but like time, I'm always on time or early. And
you were 15 minutes early today.
Yeah, that's classic me. And like, it doesn't serve me well a lot of the time, especially in the world of comedy or music. Like, no musicians are on time. Yeah. Comedians, same. Like, some people just, and to be like, be on time or else you're wasting my time because I can't make time back. I can make money, but I can't make time. Like, that kind of like line in the sand, it is, as much as I can't change myself, I can at least change the perspective of like, relax a little bit. Like, it's not such a big deal. And I'm so stiff about certain things. And so hosting after a year, even like you realize, you know what, relax. These people are like, it'll be fine. It's also maybe kind of a lack of self-confidence in how good the show is going to be. And so people drop out and you're like, oh no, the show won't be as good. Well, it's up to you. Make the show good. It doesn't matter that you don't have this one comedian. Make the show good. Like, have some confidence in yourself that you can put together a good show, and one person drops out, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, of course. I completely agree. Like, it's fine if someone drops. It's just a matter of organization a bit, especially because, for example, for the Comedy Hall, we released the day before the poster with all the faces of the comedians and names. And I know that, for example, some member of the audience, they come also to see a specific comedian. Like, for example, people loves Ricky. And when he's there, I know that people comes, I came because I want to see Ricky.
Sure.
So, like putting, it's a work, because the pre-work that is done, it's also promo-wise, and also the building of the lineup.
You have to balance.
I don't want to send it 7 times. Just this.
On being on time, I used to work in video for a few years, and like in video and film, call time is the call time, and so that was really ingrained into me to always be on time and to be kind of pissed off when people are late. And I've just also had to drop that with comedy, because it's different category of people.
I worked on movie sets where I'm like an actor, and I go in, 5 hours before I'm ever called. Even sometimes I've gone in where I don't perform that day at all, and I'm called in at 6 a.m, and I spend all day in the trailer, do nothing. And like, as much as I'm like, what the fuck, I'm waiting, why did you call me in? I understand if you have like 300 people on set, and you need all of them to be there, be on time, like, you have to call them in that early, unfortunately.
Money's burning if someone's not there.
What is call in?
Call in is like a...
Call time is the time you have to show up.
Okay.
Call time is a thing.
Okay.
It's like my call time 6 a.m, so you show up at 6 a.m.
If you're late, you fucked up.
Okay. In Berlin, they have they give times like, okay, if you perform the first half, come at this time. If you perform in the second half, come at this time. Because there are so many shows per night that sometimes comedians, they get a spot in the first half, then they know that at 9 they need to be in another place. It makes sense when there are more shows. And also, it's good like to give timings to comedians, I think.
What do you think of is the hardest non-hosting part of hosting? So starting a show, promoting, corralling comedians, I think it's finding the venue.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. All the venue stuff it should be easier.
It should be.
It should be easier.
But Ariel said this earlier, that to get a venue for a comedy show, you just have to know the owner.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big thing here in Warsaw is because I'm a DJ and I know a lot of the clubs. And so that was it. Like, you know, and so I know the owner of Rakieta or at least a part owner or whatever. And they needed some shows. And I said, I want to do a stand-up show in English. And the owner, you know, the owner's like, maybe do a variety show. So I had some music at the beginning, but like it was only their experience that told them it should be a variety show.
Okay. Like
they didn't know that stand-up by itself could be a driving force. And so I know I would just rather see some stand-up. And mind you, there was some improv people and who are awesome improvisers here in Warsaw, but like, and so they were a good part of the show, but I just wanted a stand-up show. But yeah, I mean, it's all connections. But mind you, I came here to Warsaw as a DJ. I knew one connection, and then I just went to places. It's the same as trying to find a job, especially as a bartender or something. You just go to the place, hand in your resume. But what I did was just go to a place, ask for the manager, talk to the manager, said, give me a shot. Then I performed, and then it was good, and then I could perform again. And that was basically every place. And then word of mouth, especially for DJing, is like, oh, he was a great DJ. He showed up on time or something, whatever. Like, you know, then you work with other people, you work with other DJs, they recommend you, and then slowly but surely you're getting called as opposed to you showing up to the venue to get booked. They're calling you and you've never played there before because of your reputation.
Yeah. I know the owner of Clar. That's why we have Clar.
Yeah, but and about reputation, I think that now with all this social promo we are doing, it will be in case we need for some showcase another venue, it will be easier to find one because we can say, oh, we have experience, we have this, and it's tested.
Social proof,
and social proof.
Also, social proof is probably huge because even I tried to get us the venue. A venue that was in Warsaw that I've DJ'd at many times. And the manager's awesome. He hooked me up immediately with the owner, but it didn't work out. And it's kind of like if we have more to show, which I think we do now, but still we will gain more and more. Like seeing like, hey, this could be actually a very good night for your club or for your bar because of, look at our track record. Like, that's a huge thing to show, you know? Comedy.
Comedy.